I owe it to all of you to let you know if my bear market thesis has changed. And it has. The super cycle is here. Bitcoin will be hitting $250,000 this year. April Fools. In today's video, we'll be going over the most recent Bitcoin price action. My base case has not changed. I am in some more short trades. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. As we normally do, kicking us off with the Bitcoin price action, you can see that today we got a nice move all the way up to around $69,000. Now, what's interesting on this move is that a lot of longs have started to pile into the market. I warned you about this. Please be careful if you are trying to long Bitcoin here because the trend still very much remains intact. When I was covering this chart over the past few days, there were way more shorts in the market and now there are more longs. Legends, this is still very much bear market price action. So while we did get the close above the point of control of this existing range, which we discussed could be a possibility, we are still technically forming bearish structure. What I mean by this is you'll notice we have a high here, then we have a low, then we have a high, then we have a low, then we have a high, and potentially we could top out around this zone, maybe even as high as the value area high of this existing range. Now, as you know, I've been remaining in my Bitcoin short for quite some time, shorted at $97,000, took some profits on the way down, then shorted again right at the tariff capitulation lows. Just to give you a quick recap, which was right around here, this was always going to pose as resistance. This was an excellent shorting opportunity, especially for people that didn't manage to get any kind of shorting opportunity in this market if you think the price is to go down, as I do. But please remember, nothing to discuss on this channel should be construed as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on the internet sharing all of his own personal trades and his overall market analysis. So if we take a look at the Bitcoin price action right here, we are currently hovering just above $68,000. Now, I did see quite a lot of people pile into shorts right when we broke this trend, and now you can see we are slowly chopping to the upside. In my opinion, this will resort lower for Bitcoin. I couldn't be any more clear. Over the course of this year, I do think we will be seeing Bitcoin going sub $60,000 and potentially sub $50,000. Let me just highlight my accumulation strategy. Now, to be clear, I am not 100% cash, but this is just talking about the cash position that I would be willing to allocate to Bitcoin on the way down. So 15% of that position starts right below $60,000 down to this wick to $49,000. And then I plan to be extremely aggressive if we get the opportunity and Bitcoin drops below $49,000 down to sub 40K. The reason why this is a possibility, just to give you a quick recap if you're new to my videos, is because we know that historically Bitcoin drops over 75% in the bear market. And from the top here, to the 60K wick, we have essentially only dropped just over 52%. Now, if we were to go all the way down to this lower line, down to $38,000, that would be just under a 70% drop for Bitcoin. I don't think that that is unrealistic, but because no one has a crystal ball, because no one knows where the exact bottom will be, I plan to slowly buy on the way down, getting more and more aggressive as Bitcoin drops. Some of you might be asking, okay, so what if Bitcoin drops to say $50,000 and that's the bear market bottom and I've only accumulated with around 10 to 15% of my cash? Well, for me personally, I don't mind because I've already accumulated Bitcoin in the previous bear market cycle below $30,000 and I still hold a pretty big portion of my position. Yes, I sold some on the way up, but I am in this for the long term from a spot Bitcoin portfolio perspective. Now, as it pertains to trading, you know I've been aggressively shorting this market and I've been making money on the way down. If you want to know exactly how I've been trading the market, whether we go up or down on a day-by-day, week-by-week basis, remember you do have the first link in the description down below. If you DM me the keyword CBM on Telegram, I'd be more than happy to onboard you into my group where I share all of my own personal trades. And to join that group, you can sign up to any of the exchanges down below. I actually have 2bit as a new channel partner. They're very solid. I've been using them for over a year now before promoting it on my YouTube channel. That's the second link in my description down below. This will be particularly interesting for those of you that can't access Bluffin, which is my go-to exchange. So What is next for Bitcoin as we're currently chopping around $68,000? There is very, very important news to come out, so let's talk about it. So President Trump said that the US will not have anything to do with what happens to the Strait of Hormuz and will withdraw within 2 to 3 weeks. Markets rallied on this news. But this just came out today. President Trump will be going live at 9 p.m. discussing what's been going on with Iran and ultimately addressing the entire nation. Now, this will be interrupted some pretty major shows that most people are watching on CBC, ABC, NBC, and Fox. The whole world will be watching. But what you want to consider here, as Daniel from Charts Champion put it, this is going to be addressed at market close. The bond market is recommended to actually close early at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and Friday markets are completely closed for holiday. Markets won't reopen until Monday, which is essentially a 100-hour plus buffer before the world can actually react. Prepare for impact. As you can tell here, Bitcoin is continuing to hover just around $68,000. My base case remains exactly the same. Bitcoin is essentially printing another lower high, and if we can go up and grab some more liquidity, giving long some more confidence, then that would bode over well for my shorts. So I'll keep you updated as the price action develops. This was a very, very quick video. Nothing has changed from my perspective. Ultimately, I do think that Bitcoin will be moving lower over the course of this year, and we could have some phenomenal buying opportunities from a spot portfolio perspective. And the last thing I wanted to discuss before we wrap up this video is the stock market, and the price action that we're seeing is starting to look very, very similar to what happened with Trump's tariffs. If we take a bar pattern here, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. From here to essentially the low, what happened was slowly chopping, creating new all-time highs, and then basically we managed to get a pretty big move to the downside, an aggressive move, which ultimately got faded where the stock market ended up moving much, much lower. So keep your eyes on this because we did get a little bit of relief for stocks, and naturally this does bode over well for Bitcoin, but from a higher time frame perspective, I do still think it makes sense to fade whatever pump we get. And that sums up today's quick video. Bitcoin pumped to above $69,000, but I do think that we're ultimately going to create another lower high. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. As always, I have my bluff and leverage trading tutorial right here, and I'll see you in the next video.